Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the Bar-D Chuck Wagon. It's great having you here tonight. Right now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you a group of gentlemen that play and sing Western music at its finest. Let's give them a warm welcome and a big round of applause. Here they are, the Bar-D-Wranglers.
Come on and throw away your troubles, cast them to the moon, and sell all your worries for free. 'Cause there's a great day coming, can't you hear 'em a-humming? It's a cowboy jubilee. If you've got lots of leisure time and nothing else to do, and wanna be happy like me, just grab your hat, get your boots on, pretty soon you'll be long gone to the cowboy jubilee. Just hear the cowboy band a-playing. You know your blues don't mean a thing when you get in the swing. A cowboy's life is for me. Soon all your cares you'll be shedding, and like me you'll be heading to the cowboy jubilee. Cowboy jubilee. I'll hop up on my pony and I'll ride away down the trail to San Antonio. I can see her standing waiting by the garden gate as she waits for me alone. Through the hills and o'er the plains we ride, ride, ride. I won't rest until I have her by my side. So roll on, little pony, let that old wind moan. I'm heading back to San Antonio, down the trail to San Antonio. Riding down the canyon to watch the sun go down. A picture that no artist there could paint. White-faced cattle lowing on the mountainside. I hear a coyote howling for its mate. Cactus plants are blooming, sagebrush everywhere. Granite spires are standing all around. I'll tell you folks it's heaven to be riding down that trail when that evening sun goes down. Out in Wyoming the ranges are wrecked, drier than cotton and hotter than wreck. The grass is too short and the hotter than tall. The drier than cotton and hotter than tall. Drier than cotton and hotter than tall. And all you can hear is that old cattle call. And all you can hear is that old cattle call. I'm heading for the last roundup. Gonna saddle old Paint for the last time and ride. So long, old pal, it's time your tears were dry. I'm heading for the last roundup. Get along, little doggies, get along, get along, get along, little doggies, get along. Get along, little doggies, get along, little doggies, get along. An old cowpoke went riding out one dark and windy day. On the ridge he rested as he went along his way. When all at once a mighty herd of red-eyed cows he saw, plowing through the ragged sky, up the cloudy draw. Yippee sky. Thank you very much. You're very kind. We appreciate it very, very much. Now, the young man right here on my left started here at the Bar-D 18 years ago. He started back in the kitchen, washing dishes, preparing food, that sort of thing. Then the very next summer, he moved out here on stage and started to entertain. So for the last 17 years, the food's been real good here at the Bar-D. Now, he does most of the hymn singing, a lot of the baritone singing, any of the bass voice you hear. That's where it comes from. He's going to do the song that we get more requests for than any other, called Colorado. Here's Jerry Baxter.
There's a place where Mother Nature's got it all together. She knows just when to let the wildflowers bloom. Somehow she always seems to know exactly what she's doing. The Lord saw fit to furnish elbow room. Have you ever been down to Colorado? I spend a lot of time there in my mind. And if God doesn't live in Colorado, I'll bet that's where he spends most of his time. To be there watching early in the morning. The sun comes up to crown the mountain's king. And if by chance you dare to be high on a mountain, I'll swear that you can hear the angels sing. Have you ever been down to Colorado? I spend a lot of time there in my mind. And if God doesn't live in Colorado, I'll bet that's where he spends most of his time. I'll bet that's where he spends most of his time. Thank you very much. You're very kind. This gentleman standing right here beside me has been here at the Bar-D Chuck Wagon for 25 years, and we've only been open for 24. But he started performing at a chuck wagon operation back in the year 1954 at the Flying W Ranch in Colorado Springs. Now, he was at the Flying W from 1954 through 1968. Then in the summer of 1969, he and two other gentlemen came to Durango and opened the Bar-D Chuck Wagon. Altogether, this makes the 39th year in a row that he has spent every summer night standing on a stage like this at a chuck wagon operation, performing for folks just like you and putting smiles on people's faces. Our rhythm guitar player, lead singer, comedian, and head wrangler at the Bar-D, Mr. Cy Scarborough.
Many, many years ago when I was 23,
80 years
I was
ago.
married to a widder who was pretty as could be. This widder had a grown-up daughter who had hair of red. My father fell in love with her and soon they two were wed. This made my dad my son-in-law and changed my very life. My daughter was my mother 'cause she was my father's wife. To complicate the matters, even though it brought me joy, I soon became the father of a bouncing baby boy. My little baby then became a brother-in-law to Dad. Pop, so became my uncle, though it made me very sad. For if he is my uncle, that also made him brother to the widow's grown-up daughter, who of course was my stepmother. Oh, I'm my own grandpa. You got it?
Got it.
I'm my own grandpa.
Why'd I say that?
It sounds funny, I know, but it really is so. Oh, I'm my own grandpa. Father's wife then had a son that set them on the run, and he became my grandchild, for he was my daughter's son. My wife is now my mother's mother, and it makes me blue, because although she is my wife, she's my grandmother too. Oh, I'm my own grandpa.
I ain't got it.
I'm my own grandpa. It sounds funny, I know, but it really is so. I'm my own grandpa. How'd you like to go to that family reunion?
No thanks.
Now if my wife is my grandmother, then I'm her grandchild, and every time I think of it, it nearly drives me wild. For now I have become the strangest case you ever saw. As husband of my grandmother, I am my own grandpa. Oh, I'm my own grandpa.
I'm confused.
I'm my own grandpa. It sounds funny, I know, but it really is so. I'm my own grandpa. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Standing over here to my left with that tailor-made guitar in his hands, back in the month of June, he went over to Telluride to the Telluride Bluegrass Festival, where every year they also have a guitar picking contest. It's the third time that he's gone to Telluride and entered their contest, and for the third time he came back home as the champion of the guitar contest at the Telluride Bluegrass Festival.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the 1989 national champion flat picker from Fort Collins, Colorado, Mr. Gary Cook.
Thank you.
Standing over here on the far right-hand side of the stage with that big old bass in his hands, he began his Western music singing career at the tender age of 21.
Well, careful now. He's pretty sensitive about that age thing.
You don't want anybody to know how old.
Oh, I don't want that at all.
Well, I wasn't going to tell him how old he is now.
No, don't.
I was just simply going to say that he began his Western music singing career at the tender age of 21.
I thought you said that once.
Back in 1956. At the Flying W Ranch in Colorado Springs, where he teamed up with Cy, and together they sang Western music for several years. And then he moved up the road to Estes Park, Colorado, where he sang at two different chuck wagons, the Fall River and the Lazy Bee. When he left Estes Park, he went out on the road with a group that nobody's ever heard of, called the Sons of the Pioneers. He's been with us the last 17 years in a row, and he plays the bass, sings the tenor, and does the yodeling for the group, Mr. Bob Mincer.
When you hear a cowboy yodel in a song of open range, your heart leaps up to hear his stirring tale. But did you ever wonder at the end of his refrain why his voice leaps in a mournful wail?
The story that was told to me was handed down through history of singing cowboy brave enough to try to ride the meanest old cayuse that bucked him off right at the chute, left him spinning way up in the sky.
The bronco jumped up and the cowboy came down. They met at the old saddle horn. Ooh, made a deep impression, you could say it changed his life, and that's how the yodel was born.
Bob, that was just fine. Real nice. We've always wanted to try to do something that we've never really had the courage to do, and tonight we sort of built our courage up. We'd like to share this with you. It's an instrumental medley called Mama Don't Allow.
Mama don't allow no music played round here. Mama don't allow no music played round here.
Now, we don't care what Mama don't allow. Gonna play some music for you anyhow.
Mama don't allow no music played round here.
Mama don't allow no banjo picking in here.
Banjo picking.
Mama don't allow no banjo played in here. We don't care what Mama don't allow. Gary's gonna play it anyhow. Mama don't allow no banjo played in here. Mama don't allow no mandolin picking in here.
Too big to play that little thing.
Mama don't allow no mandolin playing in here. We don't care what Mama don't allow. Here's that mandolin anyhow. Mama don't allow no mandolin played in here. Mama don't allow no bass played in here. Mama don't allow no bass playing in here. We don't care what Mama don't allow. Bob's gonna play it anyhow. Mama don't allow no bass played in here. Mama don't allow no harp played in here.
Oh, harp, yeah.
Mama don't allow no harp played in
Jerry,
here.
we don't have a harp. We ain't got
We
no
don't
harp.
What is that?
Mama don't allow no harp play. What kind of harp is
That's
that?
a tolly harp. Ain't that sweet?
One more time.
Scoot over, hee-haw.
Mama don't allow no. What you guys do to my jug? Mama don't allow no guitar picking in here. We don't care what muffled old loud, Gary's gonna play it anyhow. Muffled old loud old guitar played in here.
Thank you very much. There's a big old tall boy that works back here in our kitchen. He's been here for several years, and he's been coming out on stage each and every evening and singing a few songs for the folks, and we're going to get him out here, but we've been kind of wanting to get him out of the kitchen because lately he's been putting those beans in the pans upside down and giving everybody the hiccups. How about a big round of applause for a good friend of ours, Mr. Greg Ryder?
Mariah, Mariah, they call the wind Mariah. Away out here they got a name for rain and wind and fire. The rain is Tess, the fire is Joe, and they call the wind Mariah. Mariah blows the stars around and sends the clouds a-flying. Mariah makes the mountains sound like folks were up there dying. Mariah, Mariah, they call the wind Mariah. Before I knew Mariah's name and heard her wailing, whining, I had a gal and she had me, and the sun was always shining. But then one day I left my girl, I left her far behind me, and now I'm lost, so god darn lost, not even God can find me. Mariah, Mariah, they call the wind Mariah. Out here they got a name for rain and wind and fire only. But when you're lost and all alone, there ain't no word but lonely. And I am a lost and a lonely man without a star to guide me. Mariah, blow my love to me. I need my girl beside me. Mariah, Mariah, they call the wind Mariah. Mariah, Mariah, blow my love to me.
We'd like to have Greg do another song for you, but before he starts this next number, I'd like to brag on Greg just a little bit, if you would allow me to, because I have heard this next song performed by several different artists, and I don't believe that I have ever heard anybody sing this next song as beautifully as Greg Ryder. And I could go on and on and on with my compliments of Greg.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Jerry, you know, I couldn't agree with you more.
I'll bet.
Most of you folks know, but down there in the record shop in the afternoon, we sit around and play, and Boy, Greg's turning out to be quite a guitar player, too.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Greg,
here's-
I've got to tell you, I think you got a darn good-looking mustache there, my friend. You know, it really is fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Greg with the Night Rider's Lament.
While I was out a-riding a graveyard shift midnight until dawn, the moon was so bright I could read by the light a letter from an old friend back home. And he asked me, why do you ride for your money? Well, tell me, why do you rope for short pay? You ain't getting nowhere and you're losing your share. Boy, you must have gone crazy out there. He tells me last night I run on to Jenny. Well, she's married and has a good life. Boy, you sure missed the track when you never came back. Oh, she's the perfect professional's wife. And she asked me, why does he ride for his money? Well, tell me, why does he rope for short pay? He ain't getting nowhere and he's losing his share. I guess he must have gone crazy out there, but then they've never seen the northern lights. They've never seen a hawk on the wing. They've never seen the spring hit the great divide. No, they never heard old Camp Cookie sing. Well, I read up the last of my letter,
And I tore off the stamp for old Jim.
well, when Billy rode up to relieve me, oh, he just looked at my letter and he grinned and he said, now why do they ride for their money? Well, tell me, why do they rope for short pay? They ain't getting nowhere and they're losing their share.
Well, I guess they all must be crazy out there.
But then they've never seen the northern lights. They've never seen a hawk on the wing. They've never seen the spring hit the great divide. No, they never heard old Camp Cookie sing. Yodeloo, 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 yodeloo.
and gentlemen, Mr. Greg Ryder. A while ago when I introduced Gary, I failed to mention that he's only a Coloradoan about half the time. Because when the snow starts flying around here, so does he. And he heads south to the warmer climates of Arizona. Well, come about February, we were up to about here in snow. And we were getting a little bit tired of it. So Cy and Bob and myself decided we'd go down south where it was warm for a little while. And, well, we got down to the Phoenix area. And Bob came up with this brilliant idea that he wanted to go down to Nogales and get himself a brand new pair of handmade boots.
Big mistake.
Well, when we got down to Nogales, he came up with another brilliant idea. He wanted to go across the border into old Mexico.
Terrible mistake.
We wound up in jail. Thanks to Bob, who, of course, decided he wanted to stop in one of these little sidewalk cafes down on that side of the border in Nogales. Yeah. And hanging behind the counter, they had some of these Mexican serapes to wear. And he saw one that he'd like to purchase, and
it wasn't pretty.
Neither was she. Because the problem was it was already being worn by this female patron. Well, they got in a fight over this serape. They started wrestling around on the floor, wound up in love. We wound up in jail, and here's the song that came out of the whole mess.
If I could get Gary to kind of kick it off over there, please, it'd be awful nice. No, that's the wrong song, Gary. I think it's a little slower than that.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
She couldn't move that fast. Bob's girl. Sing it, Bob.
In a little cafe just the other side of the border. He was sitting there giving me looks that made my mouth water.
I feel better.
But I started walking away. She belonged to Bad Man Jose. And I knew, yes, I knew I should go when I heard her say,
come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man. So big and so strong, come a little bit closer. I'm all alone and the night is so long.
Now that's what tequila will do to you.
Started to dance in my arms, she felt so inviting. I just couldn't resist it, just one little kiss, so
One little
exciting.
kiss, Bobby boy.
And I heard the guitar player say,
Yuck.
Vamoose, Jose's on his way. And I knew, yes, I knew I should go when I heard her say,
Come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man. So big and so strong, come a little bit closer. I'm all alone and the night is so long.
The real Montezuma's Revenge.
Music stopped when I looked, the cafe was empty. And I heard Jose Esteban, you're in big trouble. Plenty!
Bob, leave her alone.
I dropped the drink from my hand, and through the window I ran. And as I rode away, I could hear her say to Jose,
Come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man. So big and so strong, come a little bit closer. I'm all alone, and the night is so long. Did you see that?
I saw that.
ooh, I did too.
Dirty old man. Disgusting. Excuse me, sir. I'd like to ask you a question, if I may. Yes or no? Do you wear glasses? No? It's time.
I don't think he gets out enough.
At the wrong times when he does.
What happened while I was gone?
Well, you see this guy right?
You wouldn't believe it anyway.
Yeah, you ought to be glad you weren't here.
I am.
What? I mean, I am.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to do a song for you right now that was written by a very good friend of ours, Scott Vaughn, over in Colorado Springs, one called The Colorado Home. to smell the western air from the back of a chestnut mare. The prairie blooming everywhere back in Colorado. I want to feel the springtime wind blow me down the trail again, seeing my old cowboy friends back in Colorado. I want to pull on my cowboy boots, out where the hoot owl hoot, out where the shooting stars shoot, back in Colorado. I want to ride the range alone, out where the buffalo roam. Let me never wander from my Colorado home. I want to sleep in a cowboy bed, a saddle underneath my head, wake up smelling sourdough bread, back in Colorado. I want to wake up from my dream, listen to old cookies scream,
Lazy cowboys, get your beans.
back in Colorado. I want to pull on my cowboy boots, out where the hoot owl hoot, out where the shooting stars shoot, back in Colorado. I want to ride the range alone, out where the buffalo roam. Let me never wander from my Colorado home, my Colorado home. Thank you. When I introduced Cy, I told you he's been doing this for 39 years. And Cy is one of those rare individuals in the entertainment business that is just never satisfied with his own abilities as an entertainer. And he's always looking for new and different ways to entertain his audiences. And for example, last year, just before we opened, he came up to us and said, guys, I'd like to do something I've never tried to do before on stage. I'd like to tell a little bit of cowboy poetry. And he did cowboy poetry all summer last year, and as much as I hate to admit it, he wasn't half bad. He was all bad. And this year, just before we opened, he came up to us again and said, I'd like to do something new again, guys. If you don't mind, I'd like to be a storyteller. And he prefers fairy tales. Sort of like the one I saw on TV this afternoon on the Disney Channel.
What's that?
Cinderella.
Oh, I've been working on that one. Can I do that one?
You bet.
Yeah, okay. Once upon a time in a corn country, there lived a beautiful girl, and her name was Rendicella. Now, Rendicella lived with her mugly other and her two sad blisters. And also in the same corn country, there was a very pransome hench. And this pransome hench was going to have a bancy fall. So he invited the people for riles amount, especially the pitch reaper. Now, Rendicella's mugly other and her two sad blisters, they went out to buy some drancy fesses to wear to this bancy fall, but Rendicella couldn't go because all she had to wear was some old ruddy dags. And finally the night of the ball arrived, and Rendicella couldn't go, so she just cat down and shried. And she was kitting there shrying when all at once appeared before her Gary Mudfather. And he touched her with his magic wand, and there was a keg, boach, and Hicks white horses to take her to the bancy fall. And he said to Rendicella, now you must be home by midnight or I'll turn you into a tumpkin. Now when Rendicella arrived at the bancy fall, the pransome hench met her at the door because he'd been watching behind the wooden handle. Now Rendicella and the pransome hench, they danced all night till midnight, and they lell in pub. And when the mid-clock struck night, Rendicella staced down the rears, and just as she beats the rottum, she slopped her dripper.
I'll bet that hurt.
Now the next day, this pransome hench searched all over this corn country for the beautiful girl that slopped her dripper. And when he came to Rendicella's house, he tried it on her mugly other, and it fitting it. And he tried it on her two siggly usters, and it fitting it. And he tried it on Rendicella, and it fit it. It was just the sight rise. Now, Rendicella and the Pransome Hints, they were married and lived heavily after happers. And the story of the Maury is this. If you go to a Bancy Fall and you want to have a Pransome Hint loll in fove with you, don't forget to slop your dipper. Thank you. Thank you very much. A song now we hope you'll enjoy. Here's Jerry Baxter with Streets of Laredo.
As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I spied a young cowboy wrapped all in white linen, wrapped in white linen, as cold as the clay. I see by your outfit that you are a cowboy. These words he did say as I slowly walk by. Come sit down beside me and hear my sad story. I'm shot in the breast and I'm dying today. Beat the drum slowly, play the fife slowly, play the death march as you carry me along. Take me to the green valley, there lay the sod o'er me, for I'm a young cowboy, I know I've done wrong. Get 6 jolly cowboys to carry my coffin, 16 gamblers to sing me a song. Take me to the green valley, there lay the sod o'er me, for I'm a young cowboy, I know I must die. We beat the drum slowly, played the fife slowly, bitterly wept as we bore him along. Took him to the green valley, there laid the sod o'er him. We all loved our comrade, although he'd done wrong. I walked in the streets of Thank you very much. And now once again on that tailor-made guitar, here's Gary Cook and the Orange Blossom Special.
Hey, all aboard! Hermosa, Rockwood, Needleton, and Silverton. All aboard!
What was that?
Amtrak. Gary,
What?
do you know why the chicken crossed the road?
No.
Well, she heard there was a man on the other side laying bricks. She had to go see for herself. That's all.
Hey, Si. Did you hear about the three-legged dog that come into town? He was looking for the man that shot his paw.
Wait a minute, I got one. Old buddy Toke sitting out here tonight, he was telling me just before dinner that there is a difference between a Texas oil man and a pigeon.
What's that?
And the difference was that a pigeon could still make a deposit on a Mercedes.
Thank you.
See them tumbling down, letting their love to the ground. Lonely but free I'll be found, drifting along with a tumbling tumbleweed. Cares of the past are behind. Nowhere to go but I'll find. Just where the trail will wind, drifting along with a tumbling tumbleweed.
I know when night has gone that a new world born at dawn. I keep rolling along. Deep in my heart is a song. Here on the range I belong, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweed.
Thank you very much. We always like to include an inspirational type song in our program. We hope you'll enjoy I Believe.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows. I believe for everyone who goes astray, someone will come to show the way. I believe, I believe above the storm the smallest prayer will still be heard. I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know why I believe. Above the storm, the smallest prayer will still be heard. I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know why. I believe.
Where the Narragansett Trail meets the Navajo Trail, that's where I long to stay. Where the eagles fly in clear blue sky, I'll soon be on my way. I'll be seen from the hills of green, from there I'll never roam. I ride my pony down the trail while yodeling this song.
Everybody yodel.
By yodeling this song.
Thank you so very much for coming this evening. You've been a wonderful audience. God bless you and good night, everyone. Hey, thanks a lot. Thank you so much for being so great. We appreciate it.